The Purpose, written and read by Scott Savino. My husband's been gone. He's been gone quite some time, I guess. A few weeks, I think. Might be 16 days. I don't know. Them days in the last few weeks have kind of strung themselves together as they do, you see. I don't do very well on my own. I can't quite keep track of things. He always used to help me with that sort of thing. I think he was gone 2 Tuesdays ago. Woke up and he was just up and gone. The funny thing was, I weren't really that mad about it. Sometimes a man's just got to up and go for a time, I reckon. Don't be good to him? Well, you gotta learn the lesson. So you wake up and he'll be gone. I ain't been sleeping much since he been gone. I guess you could say I've been a touch upset about it, and yesterday weren't much different. I'm not sure if I slept the night before last, but I know for sure I woke up yesterday at some point, so I must have. It was early. I always get out of bed early to do the chores and the washing, like one does, except there weren't much to do now. I don't quite know how many times a body can wash that same shirt over and over and over again, but I did it anyhow. Washed my shirt from the night before in the bathroom sink and hung it up to dry over the tub. Normally, I'd do a whole load of laundry and hang it outside, but it was raining, and there ain't a whole load if I'm here by myself. Yesterday, I didn't do a whole lot of that kind of thing, the way I normally would be doing. I kept all this stuff up, the chores, because I needed to be useful. A body's gotta be useful to please his partner, you know. Or you'll wake up one morning and he'll be gone. That's my purpose. I do the chores, take care of my husband. I learned the lesson. I reckon I won't slip up on it again. So I finished the chores and headed downstairs. The sky was still black as pitch, as it were yesterday, and the day before, and the day before that. It's been that way for days now. I got down them stairs and stared out at the fields at the front window and saw the storm clouds were still looming on and on for miles. They was spinning and rolling at a fever pitch, same as they've been doing for days. A swirling landscape of darkness spilled out overhead. The wind pushed them clouds along their way. The movement was urgent like. Pressing, it pressed against our old house just the same, making it whistle and creak from everywhere through 100-year-old pinholes and knots in the wood siding. We've lived here a long time, my husband and me. It's an old house. It was old when we bought it. When them storms like this one start to howl, and if one closes his eyes and does his very best to block out the sounds of the thunder and the wind and the rain, he can really focus on this old house. He can feel it come alive. It dances in storms like this one. I like to think it's doing it to be defiant. It's seen over 100 years and over 100 storms, and it tells each one of them, you ain't gonna be the one to blow me over, you hear? It's a good house. That's why we picked it. A strong house. It's been standing up to this same storm for near on a week now, I think. Power went out right in the beginning of it, but that's just fine. I know my way around my own house in the dark. I spent so many years thinking we was happy, but you know, when I first woke up and seen he was gone, well, I weren't too broke up about it. Not right away. I figured it was my doing, you see. I blame myself. There'd got to be a reason for it, or he'd have still been there. Forget to scrub something or other? Something wrong with dinner? Who knows? I don't really know if I reacted that first day at all when he was gone. I don't know at all. That day was a foggy one. Lots of days are foggy after that. I ain't been feeling like myself no more lately. Like I ain't got no reason to be. Not anymore. I want to be a good husband and take care of my man. That's what my purpose is. I ain't got nothing else to do. It were a few days later, might have been a week, that I took a piece to finally cry. It it was a good cry, a healthy one, I suppose. It just come out of no place at all. I was getting in from the grocery and went to take off my shoes, and I recall while doing such, the last time I took off his boots for him. Kinda silly when you think about it, really. That's the thing that makes a man cry? It weren't like I took off his boots regularly. I can remember I think I took 'em off only that one time on account of him being too drunk and starting to get in our bed while still wearing 'em. Sure, they was a nice pair of boots, and he keeps 'em clean, but that don't mean a man should wear 'em in his own bed just 'cause they're not dirty. So yeah, I thought of that for some reason, put the shopping down and took a seat in the kitchen, and I cried and cried. I ain't cried like that since I was a boy, and Pa gave me the bad news that Buck, my dog, done run off and got himself killed by Mr. Tanner's rusty blue Ford. Mrs. Tanner was the one who was driving it. She didn't never make eye contact with me again after that. It's a shameful thing to cry. I reckon she was trying to keep herself from doing such, so she stopped looking at me in the eyes. Before that cry at the kitchen table, I didn't really spend a lot of time reflecting on how I felt, I guess. That's when I knew that my husband being gone had really upset me something awful. First real genuine grief I can recall in a long time, made worse on account of me knowing it's all my fault. The morning after that cry was when them rainstorms started, and they ain't let up since. Yesterday morning, plain as you see, I'm watching that storm pound and blow all its might across the fields. I'm not sure how long I stared out at those big old drops of rain getting flung down haphazard from them dark, angry clouds. I was practically hypnotized. That wide expanse of field, normally dusty field, I watched rise steadily into a God's honest lake. After a piece, I was about to keep going on about my day. Figured on looking for things to do around the house to occupy my time while I waited for the rain to let up. So I turned away from the window, and when I done that, a flash of lightning shone through the living room window. And there he was, my husband, sitting right there on the living room sofa watching me watch the storm. Plain as can be. I haven't the slightest how long he's been sitting there for. He didn't say nothing, and neither did I. We ain't never been men of too many words. Without him saying so, I knew he was going to be needing some rest for a while. When you're with someone a long time, you just know things without them saying so. So after we got himself up the stairs into the bedroom, I helped him dress for bed. I took off them same boots for him, again, like I done told you about. They were muddy this time on account of the rain. But I know how he keeps them, so now I got a chore. Soon I'll have him looking like brand new. I ain't even mad he been gone 16 days or so. He's back now as of yesterday morning. As of this morning, the power come back, and the rain seems to be pulling away a bit. Pretty much it's divine fortune because I couldn't quite seem to get the mud out of them wet clothes he came back wearing by hand. I spent most of last night trying. With the power back, I can try the washer. I sure do hope I can get the mud off. I bought this suit specially for his funeral, and it weren't cheap. Listen, I know he ain't come back on his own, if I can be honest with you, and myself. Ain't a trait more important in the world than a man who can be honest with himself and the rest of the world at large. He's back because I brought him. I don't have no illusions about that. I don't remember doing it, but it must have been me on account of how wet I were when I woke up yesterday morning. You can judge me for it if you like. Don't matter none. The internet's a big place full of anonymous goings on, and this here entry's just one more post in a great big garbage dump of 'em. Ain't nobody gonna find us. Ain't nobody never gonna know nothing about it but the two of us. Being the men that we are, we ain't never been concerned about the opinions of people that's uninvolved. I can rightly say we never will be. I can tell you truly all that's not important. The important thing is I got him back now. And I feel like, for the time being anyway, With cleaning the suit and scrubbing the boots, well, I got a reason to be again. I got my purpose again.